You're watching Force 13's live streaming service. Cyclone Jude and Ivone struggle on while severe weather dominates the US this weekend. And now the latest around the wide world of tropics. Live tropical weather bulletin for March 12th. So around the world the tropics are quietening down, although we are just about still on code blue for Cyclone Jude, or what's left of it. We've put it down to tropical depression. Ivone, we've put it down to a remnant low because it's been completely destroyed by wind shear over the open Indian Ocean. Which means that the main bulk of tonight's stream will be about the US severe weather event coming up this weekend, which is going to be pretty massive. At the moment though, it's looking pretty quiet over here. There's a significant extratropical low there across the western Atlantic, affecting Bermuda probably. Nice looking sting on the tail of that as well, but elsewhere it's looking quiet over all the land areas. In the eastern Pacific, 65 days until the hurricane season begins, and the basin is looking relatively quiet. There's some cloud moving into the west coast of the US there, Northern California, but the tropical region is looking very dead indeed. In the western Pacific, there's not too much going on here either, just a few scattered clouds to the southeast of Japan, and a few thunderstorms over parts of central and eastern Micronesia. But apart from that, really very little going on. North Indian Ocean, we do have this area of interest which is still continuing. It does appear to have a good rotation, maybe almost a complete circulation. 30% chance we're giving that as it heads towards the Maldives. The model's not really picking up on it, but at the moment it is looking quite good. And in the southwest Indian Ocean, of course, we've got Jude and now ex-Ivone, which is what we're calling it. Jude still sprawling across Mozambique and neighbouring countries with massive cloud cover all around the region. It's going to be huge if it does manage to emerge back off the coast again. We'll keep watching it. And in the Australian region, there's nothing active right now. A few little areas of disturbed weather you can see across the map there, on the western side, as well as in the Gulf of Carpentaria, and a few thunderstorms and unsettled weather north of New Caledonia. So really the main tropical subject tonight is still Cyclone Jude, down to a tropical depression, 35 mph winds. It is 3 kilometers from Bompona, 26 from Kaya, 32 from Mutarara, 170 from Quelimane, and 255 from Beira, the larger cities there, all in Mozambique. Of course, it just about glanced the southern tip of Malawi as it was moving on through, and of course is still dropping heavy rain quite readily over that whole area. So now we'll cut abruptly to our live event here in the studio. My name is Nathan Foy as always, and I'm joined by a team to discuss everything that's going on in the tropics and on the US severe weather scene, which the latter will probably be taking a bit more of our attention because there's more of it that we can actually talk about than actually the tropics. So we've sort of doubled up a little bit on tonight's bulletin, showing you this wide shot of the Storm Prediction Center's risk, first of all, for tomorrow. This is a slight risk that's in effect there for northeastern, well, the Arklatex region almost really, and part of Oklahoma as well. But whilst we look at that, and we'll obviously cast our minds forward to the weekend too in just a few moments, let's introduce everyone that we've got with us right now. We're joined by Ethan, Samuel, Jose, I lost my screen just there, Justin, and Logan. Hello to all of you. Good evening.
Hello.
Hello.
Good to be back in the live streaming hot seat, isn't it?
It feels weird, honestly, because we haven't done live streams in, oh god, who knows how long.
Yeah,
a proper one for quite a while indeed.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so who would like to begin? I think we're going to start with Ethan because you're showing us, first of all, this day 2 risk, slight risk for tomorrow. Tell us about it.
Absolutely. So this is, of course, as Nathan said, a level 2 of 5 A slight risk for tomorrow across portions of the plains and extreme western Dixie Alley here, mainly northeast of Dallas, northwest of Shreveport, up into a triangle to near Tulsa. It's kind of that triangle area that we're looking at for primarily for severe weather. Of course, we do have a marginal risk in the dark green area, level 1 of 5 severe weather risk. That does go down towards portions almost to Austin and over to Jackson, Mississippi. Severe weather is still possible there, but a lot less than in this yellow shaded area. There is going to be some tornado risk tomorrow. It's not going to be terribly high. Wind risk is still going to be there, but primarily it's going to be a wind and hail event tomorrow. Things shouldn't be too bad, hopefully, tomorrow regarding severe weather. For day 3, that would be for Thursday. Mainly going to be rather localized severe weather event across Alabama.
Ethan, I'm going to ignore you here before you go on to day 4 because I'm going to switch gears a bit before we go on to the big stuff. And speaking of 2% that we were talking about just then, we have 2 Floridians in the chat as well. And I think yesterday was a 2%, wasn't it, when we had that tornado?
Yep.
Indeed, it was.
You two wanted to talk about this, so the floor is open to you guys. Jose, Logan.
Alright, well,
Your microphone's still a little bit flaky there, Jose.
oh my, for real? Okay.
We've
Yeah,
had
I'll
all
switch
kinds
it
of problems
to
with it,
Zoom.
haven't we?
Yeah, switch to Bluetooth Zoom with this.
Oh,
but-
Sounds
God.
like you're in the hurricane right now.
That sounds like you were in the tornado yesterday.
And the tornado. Yep.
Alright, what about now?
Yeah, let's
Much
try
better.
it.
Alright, is it good now?
Yeah, tell us
Yeah.
what happened.
Alright, so yesterday around I believe 8 p.m. not 8 p.m. 8 a.m. There was a report of a tornado warning that the National Weather Service of Melbourne issued out earlier. I'm still trying to find the cell that produced the tornado. But turns out for me myself, I was kind of struggling to find if there was actually a tornado confirmed. I think I found it. If this is the one.
Sure
Yeah,
looks
that
like
looks
it
right.
would be.
Yeah, very
Um,
tight rotation.
Yeah. Mostly, sometimes I rely on correlation coefficient to indicate. To let me know if there is actually a tornado on the ground, because normally debris signature will indicate a tornado on the ground.
So
So,
this was yesterday at 8,
yesterday.
nearly 9 a.m.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I can't even tell exactly if there was. Probably I circled it wrong, but there you see, like there was no debris signature.
Is
Those
that,
are probably
is that the peak
ISO.
image, though?
What'd you say?
Is that the peak moment, though?
No, the peak moment's like near Longwood.
Lake Mary.
Yeah, around Lake Mary, Longwood. I'm gonna try to extend it to. Let's see, let's go into 9:28. Yeah, that's when it starts to become messy. It's because I probably
Yeah.
got long range, so I'm gonna switch to the Melbourne radar really quick.
Well, whilst we're fighting with that radar, did it cause damage?
Yes,
yeah,
it did.
Yeah, it did.
It was rated EF2 with 120 mile per hour winds.
Mm-hmm.
It was also
So-
a 4-mile track length, if I'm correct.
Definitely
There
a
was
morning
like
surprise
4-mile
there, then.
track length, 300-yard path width, I think it was. Somewhere around there.
Believe so.
So that was yesterday. Logan, what's your take on that?
That was not on my bingo card. I was not expecting to see a tornado in Florida. I knew we were gonna have some storms in like North Florida, but I wasn't expecting a brief spin up.
Yeah, certainly at that point anyway. So there we go.
Oh my, this is so hard to find. It's so messy. The last time when I first tracked it, it was like messy, and then that's when it said a tornado touchdown near like this. I'm not sure what highway this is.
Or
It was on I-4, wasn't it?
I-4, I
Yeah.
believe. This is
It was on
right as
I-4.
it entered into Longwood. That's when debris signature started to pick up around here, then move right into Longwood, and it probably dissipated after that.
Yeah, off
Because
it
it
went.
did go through a body of water, Lake
All right.
Acapulco, earlier in its lifetime. I'm trying to.
By the way,
Yeah.
you could go to 9:45. It'll show a pretty good debris signature on CC
Up there.
on Lake Mary. I took
Oh,
some
yeah, there it is.
screenshots.
Is it this one right here?
Yeah.
What's going on at your place, Justin? I hear.
I don't know. I don't know why the people across the street from me just honked the horn. That was completely random.
Oh,
Yeah, all
okay,
kinds
there
of
you go.
random moments here on these streams. It's great.
Very
if you go
random
back
indeed.
one,
Ignore that. I have my window open. That's why.
All right.
Yeah, you can see like somewhat like a couplet. Like they always say, red means away from radar, green means towards radar. So that's what you can see rotation. And on the
Bit of a signature
left side, you
there.
can see debris signature.
by the way, you could start to see the CC drop at 9:39 a.m.
Hmm.
And just a reminder, everyone, this was yesterday when there was an EF2 tornado through central Florida that we're just reanalyzing, I guess, in real time right here.
Yeah.
And looking at short range on the storm, it looks crazy.
All right. Well,
Oh,
that was quite an impactful tornado.
yeah. Worst part, it was like during my school time ever. I didn't take
Same.
my eyes off of it. I was tracking a couple, and I think there was actually another. I don't know if it was a brief spin up or like a
Really?
rotation that went through Fort Pierce yesterday.
Yeah, I did see that as well.
And there was another rotation spin up. It was a big one though.
It was a big one,
I think it was
but it did not produce.
one. I think it was around 1 o'clock because I remember that because my mom came to pick me up after at school at around 1.
Right, so
So-
that was later. Did you have loads of like normal storms around yesterday? Or
We had well, we were under a special marine warning, but then that was just it. I was expecting a severe thunderstorm warning in my area, but it wasn't.
All right. Well, that was interesting to look at. Certainly, considering I haven't seen it until now. But
There it is.
Oh, there's the other one.
Yeah, right there. It's
Yeah,
very
it was
raw.
a very big one,
Yeah, it's,
but I couldn't
Wow.
really tell if it like touched down or not
Yeah.
because it was scoured.
very scattered. Let me moved up a little bit to.
Yeah. Leave it to Florida to produce a random sig tour out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And I would
On a marginal
imagine,
risk day.
Oh, look at
Man.
that near the Indian River Estates. I didn't even see that one before.
Does that mean
Yeah,
you're
I was
nervous
in
about
jam.
tomorrow, Justin?
Tomorrow it's gonna be more of a wind and hail threat. You might get a couple tornadoes, but it's like I said, it's gonna be more of a wind and hail threat for tomorrow.
All right, guys, we're going to have to move on. Feel free to send in your comments and questions, by the way, whilst we're on the air tonight. We're talking about severe weather mainly, a slight risk tomorrow, and a big weekend by the looks of things on the way. And checking in with the tropics as well. This is a live look at what's left of Cyclone Jude. It is still going by the looks of things. We're giving it tropical depression status. It is moving southwest over north-central Mozambique now, and will start, we think, to turn southeastwards again. But when you look at this system, it's going to be huge if it emerges again off the coast, and it will really struggle to intensify, but it could get back up to storm status and cause some significant impacts over there in Madagascar later on. Well, Ethan, go on then. What have we got in store for the longer range?
right. So starting with the SBC Day 4 risk. It's always a nice place to start, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
This is going to be for Friday, the 14th. We have a very, very large area under threat for severe weather, extending from northeastern Texas all the way up to Wisconsin, and then even as far east as the Interstate 65 corridor in Kentucky and Tennessee.
Yep, looks pretty scary.
Absolutely. So this is already at the equivalent of a level 3 out of 5 risk, which would be at the level of a enhanced risk if this were to go towards day 3. We actually need the SPC to forward this to a day 3 outlook overnight. I do think that they will maintain an enhanced risk. Bit of a few question marks on when and if they might go up to a moderate risk for today. For Friday.
For Friday, yeah.
Still remains to be seen, and we'll have to wait and see on how models evolve and everything. We're only just starting to get into range of the NAM 12 kilometer. We still have to wait for the NAM 3 kilometer. So there's still a lot of question marks to be answered with both Friday and the 2 days afterwards, which do have a super weather risk, which I'll get to here in just a second. But a pretty substantial day to start us off here on Friday.
How that's transpiring is, as far as I gather, a very deep, low-pressure system moving through the Great Plains.
Yes,
and that's pulsing off the eastern side, the initial part, and then some places going to get hit twice. I think that's sort of what I was reading in on the SPC outlook.
Yes, some places are probably going to hit it twice, but look at the low pressure of this system here, Nathan. 974 millibars here in western Kansas. And that's
Now,
18Z Friday.
I don't really watch these numbers so much, or I've not been in it for that long to know if that's really low or not, but it's obviously
That's exceptionally low for a storm this late in the year.
Right.
And if we look at the 2 meter, I think it's, let's see what we want to look at. No. Sorry, I was just trying to find the right product here. I think it's this that I'm wanting to pull up. No, it's not. But there's what are this one? So this is winds that are going to be associated with this system here, and you can just see all of the colors that come up here. There they are.
To the southwest.
Look at that.
Yep.
And keep in mind, these are sustained winds.
Storm force
These
winds
aren't wind gusts. These aren't wind gusts. These are sustained
And that can't
winds.
be helping that fire situation down there either. There's red flag warnings all over that area today. Western Texas,
Yes, there is.
New Mexico.
Let me see if I can't find wind gust here. There's got to be some product for it. Come on.
Trying to even read.
Yeah, I saw some spots of over a very large area of Texas, Oklahoma, Kansas, New Mexico, and Colorado could see wind gusts well into the 70 to 80 range.
Really?
Yeah.
There once again is our depiction
but,
here of that
but,
day
but,
4.
Wind gusts across particularly northwestern Texas and the Oklahoma panhandle as this low pressure pushes through. We could be seeing some wind gusts up to 65 to 70 miles per hour, if not more.
Quite impressive. And then, yeah.
Go ahead.
Just pitching over to Saturday.
Well, for Friday, we have the cities, big cities that are in this risk right now. Could expand, but the big cities that we're looking at right now is mainly St. Louis, Memphis, and Little Rock is also in there. Evansville, Indiana, the western fringes of that city are also within the risk area, with, of course, a much larger 15% risk area, including Indianapolis, Birmingham, Shreveport, maybe the extreme southeastern fringes of Oklahoma, too. Kansas City might be in a marginal risk maybe towards this. Chicago's in there, too.
Yep.
Yep, that's the case, though. There's a lot of uncertainty this far north, going up from northern Illinois to Wisconsin. But it looks like up here there's more confidence now that potentially, if the conditions are there, could easily support a strong QLCS. Kind of similar, and it's giving me flashbacks to February 27th, when there was a major squall line that went through Chicago. Now, this one doesn't look to be a big tornado producer this far north because of the potential lack of moisture needed for it to spin up and interact. But if you're looking pretty much anywhere south of the Chicago metro, that is where the severe risk greatly increases, even to the west of it too, but to an extent. So you're going to have the northern mode, which is likely going to be a more linear event, and then you have the southern mode, which could be an easy all hazards threat.
Always the way. And just a reminder of where everyone is on our team right now. Of course, we had Logan and Jose in Florida there. Samuel, Chicago area. Ethan, Indianapolis. And Justin there in near Buffalo, New York. Yeah.
Speaking of, actually, I was looking at the day 5 outlook for Saturday.
Yeah.
They're saying right now, they're actually saying that portions, like even up towards my area, I could even be getting on some potential severe storms on Saturday.
Let's just hop over to the day 5 risk there.
Yep. Day
And
5.
We're showing that too. It's
say,
gone pretty wide.
I will say, if a day is going to go moderate out of this whole thing, it's going to be Saturday. I'm pretty confident on that. Although there are some failure modes that do have to be accounted for, so I do think probably maintaining an enhanced risk equivalent, if this were to go to day 3 right now, of course, would be a wise option. Now, this is for day 5, so we're going to get an update tomorrow morning on this outlook. We'll move to the day 4, so we're still going to get these 15 to 30% risk contours for this kind of day. But whenever we get to this day, we could have a very significant severe weather outbreak across Mississippi, Alabama, and western Georgia. Large damaging tornadoes are all on the cards here, damaging wind gusts, of course. Heavy rainfall is also going to be part of it. We'll go to the Weather Prediction Center here in just a minute. They got all flooding products and stuff like that well for the system. And, it's yes, our main focus for Saturday is on the deep south, yes. But we do have this 50% risk area that goes all the way up to Cleveland, Ohio. So, yes, you're going to have severe weather primarily occurring down here in Mississippi and Alabama. Yes, that's going to be our primary focus. But it is very important for users with this upcoming severe weather risk, just like what just happened down in Florida. It was only a marginal risk, and they got an EF2 tornado. Regardless of your risk category, you need to be monitoring things over the next few days for severe weather, regardless of where you are. If you are in Texas, Oklahoma, Kansas, Missouri, Arkansas, Louisiana, Iowa, Wisconsin, Illinois, Indiana, Kentucky, Tennessee, Mississippi, and pretty much anywhere to the east of there, even up to portions of New England even, you need to be watching this front coming on through. It's going to be producing severe weather across a large part and a large population center of the U.S. over the next few days.
Heck, I will say that even it looks like parts of Ontario could get extreme southern Ontario can even get in on some severe weather as well.
What we're playing out right now is, here's the initial event there, that big line that goes on to affect Illinois and up to Wisconsin. That's the Friday event there, and you can clearly see where the low pressure center is going to be, right in there over Iowa at that particular point.
That's going into Minnesota, severe risk as well.
In fact,
I wouldn't be surprised if the Minneapolis metro ends up in the risk area as well.
And then we see what pops on Saturday there. This is the GFS model, though, but showing you here this big burst of activity. Obviously, the resolution's not so great, but it gives you a little idea on what they think will happen with this one. And there it is, the event concluding there. So, still...
Well, it doesn't really conclude, Nathan, at all.
Well, I mean, concluding in terms of the worst stuff, but I know that line continues all the way to the coast.
And we have a day 6 risk, too.
Yeah.
For Sunday. Extending from Tallahassee all the way up to Philadelphia. Right along the I-95 corridor.
Loading up day 6, there it is, 15 on day 6.
That's getting very close to New York City, actually.
Yeah. It is. So
Yeah.
there's day 6. Day 7, nothing. I don't think it says 5% there, but I don't think that's anything. I think it's a glitch. I think I heard the voice of Mori there, who is up that way.
Yeah, I'm here. I was saying because that area is approaching, or may even already include where I live, so I'm watching that with intensity, you could say. That risk. Of course, I would be at the very northern part of it, so I probably wouldn't be experiencing too much, but I just noticed that.
Well, a lot of people will be watching that, no doubt. Well, we have a couple of questions from the meme god who says, did you hear about the massive wildfire in South Carolina? I did hear bits about that. I'm sure our team will know more. And what about Myrtle Beach in terms of the severe weather there? They, I think, are in that 15% on day 6.
Yeah.
I will like to say this.
Yep.
The Long Island. I don't have it up on my iPad. But Long Island had a brush fire. New York.
Yeah, a couple days ago, yeah.
Yeah,
And go on.
it got up to like 900 acres, I think it was.
Wow.
Yeah.
Impressive.
And
You guys
By the
earlier were
way-
just talking about smoke over sort of like the southeast, but we couldn't find any fires. What did you find out what that was? You were talking off air?
no, I was just talking about the severe weather.
Yeah, I know, but we were looking earlier on before we start. I'm just curious if we got the answer to that. But there was some smoke around? Like right now?
Yes. Louisiana, Texas, Arkansas, Tennessee, Alabama, part of Florida, actually, northern Florida, and I think Georgia
Let me see
and
this.
Missouri.
Oh yeah, that is
Let's
kind of
load
weird.
up some satellite
Yeah,
imagery here.
I'm circling up right now the smokes that I see.
Well, I think the area in Texas there is a red flag warning, but
There
That's
is a red
Yeah,
flag warning
so
in
I
Texas.
don't know where it's coming from. I'm trying to
Yeah,
get it here
I
on this
see there's
true
one
color,
right
but I think
here,
it's too light
one
for
right-
this enhancement.
Yeah, I'm circling some right now.
Kind
I'm
of looks like
just trying
it
to
just
navigate.
started
For
randomly.
this right here, this part on near the coastline of Texas, I can't tell if that's parts of a cloud. There's like a high pressure system, I think, right now in the Gulf or low, and I can't
Oh.
tell if that's part of it or
That is
this is
interesting.
actually smoke there. I
Hmm.
can't even tell because when I play it slowly, it looks like it looks like clouds.
Yeah,
honestly,
I don't know. If anyone's in that area, let us know.
There's also
Yeah,
one in
yeah,
Mexico.
Yeah, but then when you look up
Looking at it.
here,
it doesn't. Oh, the storm that
yeah, all
Logan's
this
looking at right
all
now, that probably is a wildfire.
yeah,
the
all
one
this
they
guy's
look like.
circled, and
This?
there's some here in Florida, but
No,
since
that little cloud that you zoomed in Mexico, that's probably a wildfire.
Yeah, and speaking of wildfires, we do need to mention that there
I
is
see.
extensive blanket
There's
of
also
red
one
flag
right here.
warnings
Wow.
across much of southern New Mexico and a good chunk of western Texas.
And that's why we're pointing this out, because we do have critical fire weather for several days, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
There's
so-
also a
One
little
right
bit
here.
up near the border between New Mexico and Texas, in Chihuahua, Mexico, around Chihuahua, like in the county.
Well, that I don't know.
Nah, I didn't even see the wildfires in Mexico. Right, well, sooner or later it's gonna go dark, so we won't be able to see the smoke on satellite.
Oh yeah, and there's also
Unless,
some in
wait,
Illinois.
I think you can
My
still
satellite
see
just
some.
broke, so that ain't working. Anyways,
Oh, dirty long wave CO2. I think that's how we could pick
but
up some.
left with the day 6 outlook there. But just a reminder here again, this is Friday, day 4, this big 30% area, and at day 5 it spreads down towards the southeast there as well. So these are two
Yes.
big severe weather days that we're going to be looking at moving forward. We're drawing people's attention to at this point. We did have another question earlier from Scarlett saying, do we expect Jude to reform in the Mozambique Channel? Because we're talking tropics as well. Here's a live look at Jude. Looking pretty appalling. We're keeping it as a tropical depression for the time being. And that, I think, will have a shot at reforming. But I know, Jose, just a minute ago you had the National Weather Service warning map up. I think it would be wise to show that, all those red flag warnings that are out there. All those pink filled counties there, large parts of Texas.
Yeah, couple days. I think it was last week. I think it was last week. Parts of after I think it was a weather rain that came through Florida. The National Weather Service in Melbourne put out a special weather fire weather. I forgot what's it called. Fire weather statement for almost the entire central and east coast of Florida.
Actually, speaking of wildfires, there actually is a fire warning in Oklahoma right now. It's for it's for Turleton, Oklahoma, where they're showing it also with an immediate evacuation order for much of that area.
There you can see their graphics talking about fire weather and high winds Friday, actually, they're saying there.
Yeah, right here you have near critical to almost critical thresholds in that area as well.
Click on the evacuation immediate there, Jose.
Alright, this one?
Yeah. So this is will be an important message, this one. Evacuation due to hazardous materials. Emergency there. Leave immediately. Now, they're saying hazmat there, so I'm not sure that is actually a fire or a wildfire.
It could be related, but
it could be something
but these
else.
two, I think, they could be separate, but it's not showing up on the actual warning graphic.
So that might be a little bit of a breaking news story there. I don't know how long that's been going on for, but
humidity is
evacuation immediate. Not very often that you see warnings of that magnitude on the National Weather Service.
Oh, and as you can see on satellite here, there are actually multiple wildfires in Arkansas and Oklahoma right now.
Switching here now. That's a good view from Carter. Pretty light stuff. But yeah, and they are fires. You can clearly see because once it turns to infrared there, those little black spots, that shows that they are hot spots right there. The blacker those colors are, the higher the temperatures when you look at the infrared satellites. So clearly some hot spots there. Another one just blowing up at the very last minute there, once that eastern Oklahoma there. A new one just forming there. So this is ongoing right now. Or that could actually even be the evacuation immediate.
Potentially, since that I would imagine that's a route somewhere northeast Oklahoma.
No, it's further west. That evacuation.
Yeah. That's actually just not too far west of Tulsa.
Yeah. So I'm not seeing much on the signature west of Tulsa there, so that's going to be something different. But those wildfires are clearly east of Tulsa there, east and southeast and south. A few little fires popping up. Interesting stuff as we just watch the light fade on that imagery. Sam, whilst we've got you as well, you wanted to broadcast or convey a few other points too ahead of this severe weather event?
Yes, I do. I wanted to talk about. I know some of this is Chicago is having 2 different severe weather weeks. They did one for Illinois last week, and now they're doing one for Indiana, northern Indiana this week. But there's a huge graphic here showing you basically a good chunk of information that shows you what you need to do with severe weather on the horizon, especially the day of. First of all, it's important to know what a watch is versus a warning. So we throw around these watches and warnings a lot, and surprisingly, a lot of people do not know the difference between that. So I'll just give you a rundown of what a watch is and what a warning is. So if you are under a watch, that means you have to be alert. It doesn't mean that you're in immediate danger. You just have to keep an eye out for any threatening weather, especially, and these typically would precede warnings. Now, warnings can often happen outside of watches. This is actually not uncommon to happen, but the warning, especially if it's a tornado, severe thunderstorm, or even a flash flood warning, this is the point. This is where your life is in danger. This is where you need to take action. If there's a warning, that means a severe thunderstorm, whether or not it has a tornado, is imminent, or flash flooding. If you're under a watch, it doesn't mean that it's going to happen right away, but you need to get ready to prepare so that you are actually prepared in case you get a warning. And in the case of severe weather, you obviously want to take shelter in a sturdy structure. As with floods, you'll want to be as far away from floodwaters as possible. That's
sure that's going to become quite important at the weekend.
That is the big thing that you should be talk about. Especially, this is also important to talk about since severe weather season is ramping up. So basically, and then the one that everyone knows probably more than any other warning is a tornado warning, tornado watch. These are the big attention grabbers here. So tornado watch and tornado warning, it's basically as I was talking about with the watches and warnings. Tornado watch does not mean that there will be a tornado there's not an immediate threat of a tornado. Tornado warning, there is. That's basically the rundown that I'm going to give you here. If you're in a tornado warning or a tornado emergency, now a tornado emergency is a tornado warning, but the tornado warning is not a tornado emergency. So tornado emergency, these are very rare situations. We typically have about 10 to 15 of these in a given year. A tornado emergency is much more, yes. Tornado emergencies are situations where there is a major, much higher threat than usual to a given population. Now, usually that is going to be a more populated area where there could be massive loss of life and massive damage. But a tornado warning is more so for your personal safety. If you are anywhere in a tornado warning, no matter how sparse or populated it is, the message is all the same. Get to your tornado safe place.
Yep, pretty much. Sam, if you could just navigate to... I'm just interested to see what they say about that particularly dangerous situation graphic there as well. I'm just going to look at it here.
Yeah, so particularly dangerous situation. Now, these can be confused with tornado emergencies, but you will often hear the term PDS. That is an acronym for particularly dangerous situation. So when you hear PDS, it means a dangerous situation is ongoing. More dangerous than a normal situation. But it doesn't necessarily mean that you should take it any less seriously if it's not.
Oh, they're only
But
referring
if
to
you-
watches in that graphic there. That's interesting. But obviously they do it
Yeah,
in their warnings
but-
too.
They do it much more often in warnings than in watches. Now, a particularly dangerous situation means that there is a higher threat than normal of a tornado or whatever hazard it's associated with. So this wording is used for rare situations and for tornadoes when long-lived and intense tornadoes are forecasted. This can also happen, and more rarely, in a severe thunderstorm watch if there is the expectation of widespread and exceptionally intense straight-line wind events. So what you need to do, no matter if it's a particularly dangerous situation or not, if you are under any sort of, and yes, this includes flood warnings, which I will pull up here. That is when you need to take action. A warning, flood watch is basically be ready to act. If it's a warning, it means you need to act.
Yep.
So flood watch is kind of, let's think of it being like flood watch being a watch being it's optional, it's conditional. You don't know. If it's a warning, that's where you have to take action just to keep to be safe from the corresponding hazard. Now for floods, floods are basically, if you're under a flood watch, means flooding is possible in your area, and that's and this is where it can get tricky because there are areas that are more prone to flooding than others, especially if you live near a river or an urban area that's especially prone to flooding.
Yep.
But if you're under a flood warning, that means flooding is ongoing, or there's enough rainfall or some other condition that will cause imminent flooding at a moment's notice. So what you do but they do notice they don't have flash flood watch and flash flood warning. If it's a flash flood watch or flash flood warning, that means the onset of flooding is much quicker than a typical flood would be.
You'll see plenty of those during these severe weather events. Sam, we gotta move on. Anything else from the team right now that you'd like to share with us, guys?
Yes, I just want to include.
Let's talk to Logan first.
I just want to include what Sammy just talked about. There's also a flash flood emergency, which means, right? Isn't there? There's a flash
Yes,
flood
there is.
emergency.
It's the most extreme.
Yeah. So if you ever see that, you gotta get to high ground or stay away from any rivers or any low-lying.
Yep. Okay,
Yeah.
Ethan.
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, regarding all of this severe weather preparedness, if you want to have a look at all of this for yourself and what you can do to stay prepared, you can go to, right now it is actually severe weather preparedness week in Indiana.
And
We had
your
the
drill was
statewide.
yesterday, wasn't it?
No, it was today.
Today.
It was only today at
Even.
10:15 a.m.
Goodness me, Ethan! I remember you saying
So I
that
was-
this is how long today's been for. It feels like it was yesterday. Okay, yeah, it was today.
Yeah, and you can see here our National Weather Service does it very nicely whenever it comes to this week. So we have Sunday where we focus on being weather ready as a nation from our National Weather Service office. Then Monday, which was yesterday, they focused on severe weather outlooks and watches. Obviously today they focus on warnings and tornadoes, which is obviously quite given why statewide tornado drill day. So tomorrow they will focus on other types of severe weather hazards. I imagine that's going to be flooding, hail, and damaging winds, stuff like that. Then Thursday will be just solely on flooding. Then Friday is response and recovery, which is just as important in this severe weather event. You know, these kind of things don't just stop whenever the weather comes on through. And then Saturday is a full-blown recap. So there's a lot of things that can be found here. And this is useful even for people not just in Indiana. So if you are anywhere within this severe weather risk, I implore you to look at this. You can find all these kind of stuff at weather.gov/IND. That's our weather forecast office. There's a lot of useful information here. I know that there's a lot to digest here. There's a lot to go over because severe weather comes in many shapes and forms. So it's very important that you have a way to be informed, especially given that we have a big front coming through this kind of week. So this is kind of ironic that they're having this kind of week and we have severe weather on the forecast at the end of the week.
You say ironic, but it is the time of year.
Well, it's definitely a good litmus test.
Um,
Good litmus test for the area.
Well, yeah. Anything else, guys? Because I'm going to move on to the models for the tropics in just a sec. So,
Right on that.
If you were to say,
yeah.
I have some video today of the tornado drill. I don't know if that would be of interest for you. Yeah.
This might be interesting.
It's very. You have to really turn up the stream audio.
Oh God.
This is just after 10:15 a.m. This is just
Is this slow?
after.
Have you slowed this down?
No, this is live. You can hear the sirens going off in the background.
Very distant, yeah.
Yeah, there's that's the issue. Supposedly, it's been reported by a lot of news agencies that a lot of the sirens around the state actually failed the test today.
Oh gosh.
So that brings me to another very important thing here regarding severe weather preparedness week. Do not have tornado sirens as your one primary way to get watches or warnings. Do not. That is by far one of the worst ways that you can be prepared for severe weather. It is estimated that in Indiana, keep in mind, Indiana is a big state. Today, it is estimated that 30% of the tornado sirens in the entire state failed today's
30%.
test. 30%. What if that was an actual tornado?
This big
And if you were relying on that.
low pressure system moving in later in the week. As you can see, it produces some pretty strong winds. How strong are those winds getting up towards, nearly hurricane force there in southern New Mexico when it first arrives.
It's like 65, 70 miles per hour. It's like I said earlier.
And then the next phase of that storm, the weekend phase, through parts of Tennessee, getting up towards 70 miles per hour again. These are probably more gusts than winds, but still quite impressive there.
Well, I guess that there really is a good side to this whole system.
Yeah.
Temperatures out ahead of this system are gonna be phenomenal, especially tomorrow. If you have like a free day for tomorrow, honestly, if you are anywhere within really the
good.
U.S. from Texas, Oklahoma, Kansas, Nebraska eastwards to south of Interstate 90, kind of like a giant box of where our severe weather is going to be pushing on through. If you are anywhere within those tomorrow and you have a free day, get outside, honestly, because highs across the board are going to be in the mid 70s, maybe even the low 80s tomorrow and Thursday. So you have fantastic weather days before this stuff comes on through.
Yeah, we're looking at them here. Ethan's place, 68-ish, 67, 68.
The forecasted high for tomorrow is 74 here.
74, okay. I mean, these do tend to read a little low. Down in Texas, into the 90s in southern Texas there.
High of 79 on Friday, though. I'll take that.
And despite that, I'm actually, if you're off of the lake, especially in Lake Michigan, you're going to get colder temperatures. Like me, I'm going to be getting 40s and 50s tomorrow and Thursday, which is a stark contrast to the rest of my state.
All right, then, guys, let's take a look at the tropics then and see what the GFS model has in store over the next 16 days. Well, the Atlantic is pretty simple. Or is it? Well, there is a little something there that tries to actually develop. What on earth is that? But that is not. And there's another little thing that's trying it on there. Ultimately, they won't be successful, but a few little systems are trying in the Atlantic already, or will be in the coming weeks. Now, Eastern Pacific also shouldn't see anything. And, yep, nothing at all. So that's that. Central Pacific, sort of getting on towards the Western Pacific. Well, this area sometimes can throw up a surprise, but not anytime soon. Looking out over that Western Pacific area, sometimes you can see little systems start to pop up here towards the Philippines, but not this time. North Indian Ocean, you might miss it if you don't look carefully, but it's this system here. And it's got pretty much a circulation, and it's around here at this moment in time. So it's an interesting one to watch, whether the models will have picked up on it properly, whether it might go under the radar a little bit. Looks like its best chance is around here. That is very soon. In fact, it's pretty much now. So now's the time for that system. Otherwise, I think it may fail. Although one or two other model runs, I think it may have been the Icon, had a little bit of a second phase in the Arabian Sea. Either way, threat to land is low, although it could influence the weather in the Maldives. Now, looking further south, we've got Jude, if you can find it. Well, I can tell you it is here. And Ivone, which is here obviously, but it's been shattered by wind shear, and I don't think it's even a TC at this point. What happens to them? Well, Jude emerges. There it is again, reaching tropical storm force winds as soon as it emerges off the coast of Mozambique. Much larger, and it actually has another go. Tropical storm status, even getting possibly to 60 miles per hour there as it hugs and slinks into the coast of Madagascar. And then it becomes frontal and dies off very quickly. Ivone dies off anyway, tries to make a run for Rodrigues, and then it turns southwards and is gone. Long range here, nothing, which is good news. This area's had a bit of a battering this season. Australian region. Now, there have been rumblings about something forming here, which, by the way, is a massive warm pool all across this part of northern and western Australia. 30 degrees everywhere over this area or more. Does anything form on this particular run? No. Oh, not until the very end, actually, where there's two systems that eventually get swallowed up into one. Becomes quite a powerful cyclone there. Even then it looks like it's going to miss, but that is right at the end of the model. That's 24th of March. Long way out. Yep. Coral Sea, that region as well, of course, recently hit by Alfred. Nothing here. There might be a little system that's trying it there, southwest of Fiji, but that's long range and very little to it. So honestly, it is looking like the tropics are going to be in a big quiet phase coming up. I know, right?
Yeah. And that will... the good thing is that will allow us to focus more on the severe weather threats across the U.S. for the time being.
I wouldn't mind
because we have multiple,
none of the above.
Not just this weekend. There's another one on the 24th potentially.
Oh joy! And there's this thing in the South Atlantic which has got to get at least a mention. Looks quite interesting, doesn't it? Certainly looks the part. Not tropical on the phase diagrams, so we've not given it a percentage chance, but it certainly looks... I didn't mean to draw that line. Certainly looks interesting, but I mean, if we're getting excited over that, it shows you how badly we are doing in the tropics at the minute. But I don't think we can complain. We had a really busy period. Last week there were 6 storms active at the same time, and now very soon it looks like we'll be down to 0. That is the GFS model there, going out to 16 days, looking at the models. And that means we only have a few more minutes left to run on today's tropical weather bulletin, which means now is a good opportunity to show you something else, if I can get it
On the
running.
thing, maybe?
No, not quite. Actually, we are doing that in a moment, but I'd just like to point out that on another stream, we're doing this is a little view of it right now. It's a bit cut off, but this is a showcase of all the tropical... It's a tropical weather bulletin marathon that's going on right now for 5 days, going through pretty much all the tropical weather bulletins we've ever done, which we've done 1,000. We're showing 725 of them back to back. So if you like that kind of stuff or want to fall asleep to it tonight, then it's a great idea. You can go over there onto our Tropical Weather Bulletin live stream and listen to a much younger version of me. There it is.
Development as of midnight UTC.
That was me 12 years ago.
It's expected to generally move west, would probably be slower moving.
Can I guess what the on this day is?
Yeah, go on then.
It died 2019.
No.
Oh, come on.
Yep. Sorry.
Wait, what year was it?
Wait.
Oh, which one did I choose? I can't even remember what I chose. Yes, I do. I do know what I chose. I'm not telling you.
Big storms on this end. Let me use IBA tracks.
Big storm.
I'm guessing it now.
Sandy?
It's not Ingrid, is it?
It is. It's going to be Ingrid.
Ow!
It's Ingrid.
Wow.
Nathan,
Yeah.
I do want to mention something.
Sure.
Jude, it looks like it's gonna probably meander around Mozambique for a little bit, then move off the coast of Madagascar, kind of dumping some rain on there.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah. And speaking of rain, I want to talk about the West there, specifically Los Angeles, San Diego,
Oh, right.
Vancouver.
Just whilst you're saying that, I just want to point out this is Ivone that we're looking at right now. Just a little view of that storm. But go ahead.
So, hold on, let me share my screen.
Whilst we wait for that, that is Ivone. It is throwing up some more convection in those latest frames, so maybe it will hold on, but it's really struggling. And this is Jude over Mozambique. You can take a look at all this satellite imagery in real time on the Force 13 website. But I think Logan is showing us some more. Yes, so there is a big low pressure system that was quite strong a couple of days ago. It is weakening, but it is actually causing a lot of rain by the looks of things there.
Yeah, specifically San Diego and around Los Angeles. And if I move up here, this thing is kind of looking like an atmospheric river. And if it is an atmospheric river, then there's going to be a lot of rain dumped onto some of these cities, like Seattle, Marysville, Vancouver.
Is it going to be this thing that actually becomes the event later in the week?
Yes, I feel like that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it looks like it. It's moving
there
in.
It goes.
Yeah, there it is.
Damn. So we are already seeing this event taking place in a different manifestation there on the whole west coast.
Yeah. I think like this storm is going to intensify. On the models, it's like showing like it really changes depending on the model, but it showed like the system becoming like 975 millibars or something like that.
Into the 970s, it definitely. Oh, that's me in the background. I'm just on your screen right now, Maury, and it's got me all over it. Anyways, let's go back to... This is the only shot I've got left, actually. But we are just about to finish up here, guys. So what are our final thoughts about what we're expecting to happen towards the end of this week into the weekend?
A lot of severe weather.
Yeah, a lot of severe weather.
Simple way of putting it.
Yeah.
One thing I'll say is I don't want people to get caught off guard by all the severe weather. Like sometimes it can be somewhat stressful to like go through all the severe weather risks. Just realize you have to understand that you have to take your precautions when necessary. You have to know when the precautions are, like what precautions you need to do in what situations. Of course, like Sam pointed out, with many of the events, the different events and the different warnings that you have to know what to do and what. just don't get caught off guard by just a big severe weather risk. Also realize that the small details that realize it may be like big in its scope and like affect a lot of areas, but just focus on your own area before focusing on everybody else, unless if you have like relatives or something. But,
Yeah, that should be your primary focus. Should be where you currently are, or where people that you know, and as well as where people that you know are. That's basically what you should focus on. And if your the risk level that you are in is what is the one you should focus on. But nonetheless, it's important to be prepared and take the necessary precautions you need.
Well, that severe weather event is getting closer. Go ahead.
And even if you're in like a low percent chance of a tornado threat, you should always be sure to look at radar, listen to your local news outlet, or anything to get informed. Don't just go like, oh, it's just a 2%, nothing's gonna happen. A 2% caused a tornado in Florida. So just stay weather cautious.
Well, it's the best way to be. We're finishing up here. Let's go to the On This Day section. Thank you to my team, because we're going to be breaking off with them now, for joining us tonight, and I'm sure we'll see them again shortly. So let's take a look at what happened on March 12th, 2005. There it is, Cyclone Ingrid, as a very powerful Category 4, borderline Category 5 on the Saffir-Simpson scale. Would be a Category 5 on the Australian scale, grazing the northern tip of the top end of Australia. Next to it was Willie, Cyclone Willie, off the coast of Western Australia over there, out further west. Category 2 on this day itself. So 2 significant storms there, and there was one on the way in the Western Pacific too. Roki was about to form and would be heading towards the Philippines.
Being a 5 at some point during its life.
You reckon? Andrea is the first name on the Atlantic naming list. Alvin in the Eastern Pacific, and in the Central Pacific it is Iona. 20 storms. Hurry up, Alvin, Ethan said. 20 storms so far in 2025. Wutip next in the Western Pacific. Shakti in the North Indian Ocean. In the Southern Hemisphere, it's Courtney for the Australian region, and in the Southwest Indian Ocean, it's Kanto. And in the South Pacific, it is Tam. There they are. That was March 12th, Tropical Weather Bulletin. We'll see you again soon. Have a good night.
Become an Ultimate Fan today.